Welcome to the InGeneral podcast, episode 96. My name's Jack, and I'm joined with Mr. Derrick Davis himself.
What's up?
What is up, dude?
What is up? Well, I know what's not up is Facebook and Instagram. They are down. So down.
I love it. They are. It's so funny because Instagram, because Facebook, I don't remember when they bought Instagram, but they bought Instagram, so Instagram's down, WhatsApp is down, everything's down, and it's fantastic. It really is. Take this opportunity to get away from social media. Take a breath. That's right. Get it into the real world. Yeah, yeah. Do it. Seriously. Instagram and Facebook suck. But they are down, which is quite funny. It's very funny. And from all reports, even the employees can't get into the offices because their key cards run on the same servers as the ones that have crashed.
See, no one learns from the Jurassic Park movies. We would have seen this coming a mile away. All of us fans know better than this.
Literally. David Koepp even is smiling now. He's thinking, we all knew. Anybody
has every reason
to
smile.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. He really does. But so the podcast is still live. We're live. And Derrick, it's great to have you on, man. You've been on the podcast before.
Yeah, I think at least once, maybe twice. I don't know. When you get older, things happen to your memory, collapses. But, like Facebook.
Absolutely.
But,
yeah. No, I remember you've been on. I think it was when you launched one of your Jurassic Time editions.
I know. I keep it confusing for everybody on purpose. Different versions, different eras.
But that's the creative process, man. You get better. You learn from things that you didn't like originally, and then the next one is better, and then the next one is better until you reach peak Platinum Edition. Although you may have you released a Platinum Edition?
I haven't used the word platinum, so that might be good if there is a next time. Yeah, that's the thing. For people that don't know, Jurassic Time is a John Hammond audio memoir using extracted audio from the computer game Trespasser, where he tells the story of the rise and fall of his empire of creating dinosaurs for the world. But yeah, it's a very unique story.
I love the dramaticness of that. But it's serious. It is. It's that game. The history, the lore of that game, while Trespasser itself is a buggy, fun but weird to play game that was basically released unfinished, the audio is Richard Attenborough. And it totally expands the lore of Jurassic. And as far as I'm aware, that it's not considered canon, although, come on, such dispute over that, isn't there?
But what is canon? What is it? What is it anymore?
It's a word that really rattles the feathers of some people in the fandom. It really is.
It does.
But I consider it like canon, right? Like, come on. It's telling a story that doesn't really conflict with the movies.
Yeah, the way I see it is, apart from certain dates, that's what gets people hung up, are certain dates clash with other dates, in the supposed, canon that we have now, per se.
Right.
Or, it clashes like with novel dates. Like it's a big mixture of two different things. But it's authentic Richard Attenborough, which for me, that makes it authentic John Hammond. So it's like that, whatever, little, differences there are in what he's talking about, that's just due to old age, just like I was saying earlier. His memory's just a little messed up, we all get that.
That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. So
but Jurassic Time really is something. It's you even dove into demos of the game, right? And you managed to uncover audio files that aren't in the final game, that people hadn't heard before.
Yeah, and that's actually part of the big reason why there has been so many different versions, is because new things would leak out to the fan community, including demos and betas and alpha versions of the game.
Shout out to Trescom.
Yes, Trescom.org. That's definitely the place to go for anyone still interested in Trespasser, which you should be.
Seriously.
So, yeah.
Oh, I got to interject though. Seriously, Trespassing Petrolia. Remember this?
It sounds familiar. Yeah.
That is it's the guy that was using. I'm pretty sure he was using the. Oh no, not the Crisis engine. Is it Crisis?
Cryogen,
something like that. One of those engines. Maybe Unreal. I don't know. But he was rebuilding the game. And he had basically rebuilt Isla Sorna, and he was going through step by step. But it's one of those classic fan projects that ends up leading nowhere. But he was posting updates on Trescom, and I'm curious because his website has not been updated. But I am curious, is there an update on that game?
As far as I know, last time I checked, there has not been. That's the sad thing with a lot of these, reimaginings with different engines, engines. It just it just hasn't really ever panned out. I mean, some people have gotten close. I think what was it called, JP Aftermath, not to be confused with something else.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's yeah.
That got
There's
close.
been
Like, I'm
some
pretty sure they
attempts.
released a playable level or something, right?
Yeah, and it was pretty fun. I mean, there was like no dinosaurs in it, I think was what it was, but I mean, they had like the visitor center from Jurassic Park and you could go in it. I mean, it was
Yeah.
still really cool.
It's a huge undertaking, and I think somebody remaking Trespasser, the great intentions are always there, but you need a team of people to do that successfully.
Yeah.
But it is something that I would love to see. That game has so much potential, had so much potential, and it would be incredible to see it played out now. I mean, just technically an open world on Sauna. Let's be real. That's what we
Yeah.
want.
Oh yeah. I mean, luckily with the Trustcom community, they've been able to get the well, I guess I shouldn't say this. They've been able to get the source code for Trespasser, so they have been able to make it be more like it was intended. Um,
Oh wow.
so yeah, and they have released, fixes for that, using, a legally owned retail copy of Trespassers. You can fix it yourself. So yeah, they have been able to do that. Like they even were able to get the raptors to jump and to enter buildings, I believe. So I
Oh
mean, they
wow.
definitely cracked the code a bit to make it work without completely crashing. Usually,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
I remember the last time I played through it, I was messaging you because I was stuck on a couple of levels here and there, and it was kind of second knowledge to you. You kind of knew it. You were like, "Oh, you just got to do this. You just got to do
yeah,
this."
yeah. The key guards get tricky, but after that, it's fine.
Yeah, I
And
swear
key
at one
guard.
point I was stuck just trying to jump up a rock. I couldn't get out of that valley. I think it was the valley where is it the Biosyn helicopter is crashed on the ground.
Yeah, probably
Um,
industrial jungle level. It sounds like, yeah,
Yeah, I just couldn't
yeah.
couldn't get out of there. It was like a weird double jump thing that I had to do. But that game, seriously, if you're a fan and you haven't played it at this point, you've got to. You kind of have to
Yeah,
dive in and play that game. But more importantly, listen to Jurassic Time because that is like it's just perfect. It's John Hammond. It's Richard Attenborough.
yeah, and it's really the project was made to preserve his performance was the main thing, and then of course I used music from the game and sound effects from the game to just enhance it basically. And there were some other bonus tracks too. The most interesting thing was we had a complete script from Trespasser. Um, and it had a lot of unrecorded dialogue of John Hammond's in it. So another fan somehow used like an artificial intelligence voice program, and he
Yes.
was able to recreate John Hammond's voice using the Trespasser audio. So using the AI, I got the unrecorded dialogue to essentially be recorded. Um, with an artificial intelligence instead, which was very time consuming. And it's obviously not 100% authentic because he didn't actually say these lines of dialogue himself. But I wanted to just have a couple bonus tracks to at least complete the story that was originally written. So that was actually really fun to do and challenging because you're trying to create a performance how you imagine he would do it.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
in terms of the
Using a bot,
timing,
basically.
yeah, and it was a big learning curve, and you had to like trick the bot because it didn't always say things correctly. You can't just copy and paste a sentence. You had to like do it like in the vowels and syllables and everything, and even other weird tricks that just don't even make sense, just to make him sound like normal. But it was fun.
Yeah, that's brilliant though. It's great that that happened and that you're able to put that together because yeah, as we said, the game is there's so much to it and it's unfortunate the way it did end up. Even
Yeah,
is it Seamus? Who's the original
yeah,
game director?
Seamus or Seamus Blackley.
Seamus Blackley. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
he talks about it occasionally, but he's not very favorable.
Yeah, no, and he if I'm not mistaken, he's the one that created the Xbox, and that's what got him, into the business, and that happened after Trespasser. So in a way, Trespasser was, building into the Xbox, if you want to think of it that way, and then,
Mm.
inspired the level developers for Half-Life, if I remember correctly. So they were inspired by Trespasser, and of course Half-Life inspired its own, first person shooters, and maybe even Halo, who knows. And Halo is Xbox, so there you go.
Wow.
Originally it was. Yeah. So
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, no, it's such a fascinating game, but we will talk more about that. And you said Aftermath before, so I think we should dive into some of the news. That's it. That's the segue. So, Aftermath Part 2 is something that a couple of percentage of fans have played. It's it was released
2%.
Yeah, 2%. It was released last week sometime, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
And it is the Part 2, it's the follow-up to the VR game Jurassic World Aftermath, where you play as fill in the blanks, because I honestly don't know.
I don't know either.
You play as somebody who goes to Nublar for something, and you talk on via radio to Dr. Wu, or does he play? There's audio files of Dr. Wu.
Yeah, and I don't think it's authentically him, is it?
I don't. I know nothing about this.
We're the worst two people to talk about this, but it's something that happened.
Yeah, it did happen, and it exists. I mean, Chris has it. Chris has the Oculus headset. Chris has played it. I haven't caught up with him. I don't know exactly what he thinks of it, but Part 1 we talked a lot about, and we edited some video of that, and he seemed to have a good time. The weird thing I find about it is that it's a VR game, right? VR is supposed to kind of replicate the real world, and you dive into it, and the art style is...
I've seen the art style, it's almost like a weird comic book kind of style. More realistic,
and it's not ugly. It's just not what you expect from VR.
Yeah, it's just not something I would have wanted. Like, even if I had a VR, I actually probably would not be that interested in it, because it just the aesthetics are not what I want to, plug my brain into, basically. That's not... I want to go into like Trespasser. Like, that would be, even with its old grainy graphics, I'd rather be surrounded by that than some cartoony world of Jurassic Park. Like, that's not Jurassic Park to me.
Exactly. And we know they can do better too. I mean, there was the Dave and Buster's, the one that was at Dave and Buster's.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I can't remember the name of that either. This is terrible, but it was incredible. You team of mercenaries, and you drop onto Isla Nublar post Jurassic World, and it feels like a modern day Trespasser in the way it's built. You're in the deep jungles, it's abandoned vehicles. It just has the correct aesthetic, put it that way. And that's what should have been on the Oculus headset.
Yeah, and given the success with that, do you think that they would have just expanded upon that instead of doing, let's go backwards and make it be a cartoon?
Right.
Although it is, isn't it from a woman's perspective in the game? Which, if it is, I think that's interesting, because so was Trespasser. Trespasser was, the player was Anne, voiced by Minnie Driver. So that's kind of funny if they chose to do... from a female perspective, again, it's like someone played Trespasser, like make her be like Anne, maybe. I don't know if they made her be like Anne.
Yeah.
But that'd be fun if they did.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really interesting view. I wonder if it is. We could be entirely wrong, but I think actually maybe you're right. Maybe Aftermath is... the main character is a woman. I don't know. I don't know.
Video clips.
We should have prepped some research for this one, but we didn't.
We're not real Jurassic Park fans, guys. No. We're just throwing it.
We're just in it for the money.
For which we're getting none.
Exactly. But there is something we can both talk about that we know a little bit more about, and that is BD Wong's comments about Dominion. So obviously how long until Dominion? You know what? There is a website that tells us how long.
And and it's not just on Facebook, so we're safe.
yeah. When everybody shifted and websites weren't a thing anymore, now they're laughing.
Exactly.
248 days until Jurassic Park 6.
Now, where'd you get the information? Was it from a little website called JurassicOutpost.com?
A little something. Yeah, I never typed that in, though. I typed JurassicWorld.org, and it brings me to the holding page that says redirecting you to the Outpost.
You were old-fashioned.
I'm so
old-fashioned there. Wow.
I just don't want to let go.
No, I get it.
248 days, though. We're 248 days out, and BD Wong has some comments about the movie. And it's funny because This is something that Colin has been saying for a very long time now. That everybody's worry was that they bring back the original characters, and these characters won't have accurate screen time. They won't adequate, shall I say, screen time. They won't have their time to shine,
Yeah.
because they'll just be cameos like Jeff Goldblum was in Fallen Kingdom. But Colin's been saying for a long time, they're leads. They are lead characters. They lead us through the movie. The same with Owen Claire and 50 other lead characters that they've cast.
No kidding.
But BD Wong has reaffirmed this. He says Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and Jeff Goldblum are in it. And they're not in it like, oh, look, there they are. They're playing leading parts in the movie. So I think, again, coming from BD Wong, who was in the original, obviously, Dr. Wu, for a small role in the original. He's had more of a role in the Jurassic World trilogy.
See, we know who BD Wong is. We are actually fans enough to know who BD Wong is. So we are qualified to talk about this topic. Actor. Yes.
An actor. That's what Corey brought up the other day. What is it? More than your education.
Oh, yes. Oh, the line from The Lost World, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So is Ludlow just exaggerating the word, or is that how he says it because he's British, or is he just being a poncy twat? That's kind of my assumption, was that he was being a ponce.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not British, so I cannot speak for the British people. Like you can, Jack. You actually have the essence of the British Empire within your veins, so you could actually talk about it. Yeah. So,
well, I mean, I always assumed that line was him just being a twat, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, he used to be like, "This suit costs more than your education." And it's like, I'm just a little bitch, you know?
Yeah, literally. But a great line. I mean, Ludlow, while he died in The Lost World, he did come back in, was it Dinosaurs in the Desert? Or what was it that comic book?
Oh, yeah, that's one of the pre-Jurassic World comic books, right? Like right before Jurassic World came out, they had those new line of comics that barely anyone read.
Yeah, I had them as well.
Including us. Yeah,
I had the original. Like, I remember they did. Was it TDW?
I think it was. Yeah, something DW, IDW.
IDW.
Yeah, I think it was IDW. Yeah.
So they had they did special edition covers for all of them as well. I remember buying all of them, and I had each one, and then they've gone now. I've sold them, but they were cool comics, and they brought Peter Ludlow back, which holds absolutely no relevance to what we were talking about. So it's very interesting that BD Wong. No,
well, it was relevant because you proved again that you're not really a fan. You're just doing it for the money because you sold the comics.
That's it. I held onto them until they gained more profit, and then I sold them for said profit, and I pocketed the money. And And
what could be more of a fan than being that? So maybe you are a fan after all.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Talking of being a fan, though, I mean, I think I'm ready to take off the Jurassic Park clothing and put on the full Hogwarts attire, the gown, the. No, I really love Harry Potter now.
He's bitten the Harry Potter bug, or the Harry Potter bug has bitten him. More likely is usually how it goes. Yeah, because you just got into it like a month ago or so. You finally watched them all. How old are you again? You have never seen them? Like, my God.
28, 27 or 28. And one of those.
He's had a few drinks.
I think I'm 28. So, and I watched, we've said this before, but I watched the first 3 when I was a kid and didn't really, I don't know, I just wasn't really into it. And then just all of a sudden, one Sunday where I can't remember, I think I may have been hungover, or I may have just been, lazy on a Sunday. And I just was like, I really want to watch Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Not the Sorcerer's Stone, the Philosopher's Stone.
That's right. For all you kids out there that don't understand what the difference is, Philosopher's Stone is the UK original title for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It wasn't until it was brought over to the United States that it became Sorcerers. So that is United. Are we united, though? That's a different discussion for a different podcast.
Absolutely not. Far from it.
Topical.
But do we know why? What is the real reason they changed the name?
I think there was from the publisher. I was actually Scholastic that changed it, not WB, because they changed it from when it was published as a book. And I think they were concerned that kids wouldn't understand what a philosopher is, even though a philosopher is a thing out here too. But I guess people don't associate philosophers in the United States with like, sorcery or, that kind of magical kind of sensibility. So I guess their thinking was, changing the sorcerers because, when, Americans hear sorcerers, they obviously think of magic. So it's like, just change it to that. So basically, they thought the American kids would be too stupid to know what the book was about.
See, that's so funny because when I was a kid, the rumor like that went around the playground is because Americans can't say the word philosophers, and obviously that's not true. But that kind of holds some relevance in what you were saying. It's more about that they just didn't think the understanding would be there. That's so weird, though.
Yeah,
I mean, they would watch the movie and then they'd understand, right?
Yeah, I mean, as someone that's also trying to publish my own book, I know publishers are very particular about what they want and like how they can sell the book. Like it's a business, just like with movies. It's like they have to really focus on how are we going to sell this? What's the best way we can do to sell the story? And I get it. But I still think that's funny that was something that they were hung up on.
Yeah, seriously.
A single word.
Yeah, especially because it's the only one they did it to. So it really does feel like an odd one out, especially if you buy, say, a Blu-ray collection. Because it's one thing I'm now looking at. It's like, I want to see all these movies in the best possible quality I can. I'm looking at like, the 4K Blu-ray set, which is over $200. I have to say that is very expensive, but I'm in it. I'm so ready to pay that money. I'm in it for the making ofs and the behind the scenes and the bonus features.
Oh,
but the DVD,
they're expensive.
The disc is going to say sorcerers, and it's
actually, I think it depends because from my understanding, and you could probably look on YouTube, they actually, when they did Sorcerer's Stone the movie, they did reshoot the scenes, like different takes. I mean, they did different takes for when the kids and anyone would say sorcerers and swap it out with philosophers. So I think with the UK DVDs and maybe the Blu-rays, they actually say philosophers on the UK releases, but in the States, they do say sorcerers. So there's actually two different versions of that movie, technically. I mean, it's just with different takes for those moments, which there aren't that many, of course. Maybe like 3 or 4 different shots where they say sorcerers or philosophers. So, yeah.
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
It's so weird. What a pointless thing.
I know. Yeah.
You had an issue with your Amber Collection figure.
Well, yeah, and it's not an isolated issue. It's apparently very widespread, especially because when I went to the Target to get one, they all had widespread pants. Yeah, exactly. Widespread dirty pants. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Hammond's an old guy. Maybe he forgot his Depends that day. I don't know, but it was
Dinosaurs are scary.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a dirty place, Isla Nublar, as we all know, very dirty. There's even pigs running around in the raptor pens. Who let that happen?
But it does. It is funny because I believe we revealed John Hammond's Amber Collection figure on Beyond the Gates, and obviously me and Chris were sent early figures to begin filming, so it aligned with the episode. Obviously, it's how it works. We began to realize that the figures we were getting, a lot of them were either early factory or protos.
Yeah.
Not in the sense of like, they've got Hot Wheels packaging, they are basically shelf ready, but we noticed the minor differences here and there. In paint and stuff like that. I believe like the Jurassic Park 3 Raptor that Chris received had slightly different paint to the actual product images, and then when it actually released on shelves, it was different. We had a very slight change there. But the John Hammond didn't have shitty pants.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even just on his pants. Like, it kind of goes on his shirt too, but it's just really, they really caked it on his pants. Like, it just really, and I mean, I get what they were trying to do. They're trying to, I guess, go for a more like realistic kind of like.
It was texture, wasn't it? It was trying to give all white clothing, definition and texture.
Yeah.
And in the end, they made it seem like he'd either slipped down a muddy hill or pooped his pants.
Yeah. Just, choose your story, choose your own adventure. Copyright, trademark. Yeah. Yeah, they can't say that anymore. They got sued. So I don't know what they say now. They call it like.
Well, Netflix did.
Yeah, they got I think they got sued by the Choose Your Own Adventure book company. I think it was for the
Oh,
Bandersnatch episode that they
I
did.
love it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that. That's so
yeah.
good. Netflix deserve to be sued many times
Oh, they
over.
got the money to cover any expenses anyway. I'm very
Yeah,
sure.
that is
Um,
so funny. They got sued for that. What do they call it now then?
I forget. It's like choose your journey or something like that, or
Oh
pick your
God.
journey. I don't
I'm
know.
all right, thanks
Um,
Netflix. I'll just watch A to Z programming. Thank you.
well, no, you still have to watch the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt Choose Your Own Adventure episode because it's amazing, and Daniel Radcliffe is in it.
Oh,
So
interesting. You know, that's one thing
yeah,
that this I don't know. I don't even know if this is a controversial opinion regarding Harry Potter, but as the story progresses and as the characters grow up and as the actors, obviously become more better at acting. No, they are. Do you know what? Genuinely, all of those kid actors are just fantastic as kid actors,
oh yeah, no, they
especially
were.
Hermione in even in the first one. You've got dirt on your nose, don't you know? Right there.
And
To
then
Ron.
Ron's reaction, just like all like, God,
Yeah.
don't point that out. Jeez.
Flustered.
Yeah, fully
But
flustered.
one thing I noticed was Daniel Radcliffe's the only one that just for the occasional line doesn't hold up. Just doesn't
Well,
hold up.
I think a big part of that was, and he's, I think, admitted this in interviews after the movies came out. He kind of, I think around movie 6, he was kind of drinking a bit behind the scenes. Like he was kind of going through that teenage phase, you know. Um,
Oh,
and I think
really?
he even said that he was literally, drunk behind the scenes. Like, I don't know how often, but, like he said it happened. So I'm
Wow.
sure his headspace wasn't completely in the role for at least, the 6th movie, maybe even the last 2. I'm not sure, but
Fair
um,
enough. I mean, it's that
yeah,
the whole franchise is fantastic, but it's got to have
yeah,
taken such a toll on child actors.
yeah. 8 movies is a lot for anybody,
They were
I'm
almost
sure.
back to back as well. Like, I'm sure
Yeah.
the years between the first three were like a year between the films, right?
Actually, I think for Chamber of Secrets was because Chamber of Secrets came out the next year. Like it literally, that movie literally was back to back off of Sorcerer's Stone. Like
That's
there was like
crazy.
no time at all, especially at that age to just go to, and they're big movies, obviously. So I mean, that's just crazy. But but yeah, but back to Hammond, Dirty Hammond. So the best way the best way to get Hammond's pants clean is to just use some nail polish remover and like some Q-tips or like a cotton swab and just wipe down his pants until
Wipe
you
him
get
off.
that dirt or poop off, whatever you want to come up with for that. And then it looks fine. So I mean, it's
Dilophosaurus venom could be
yeah,
that.
there you go, Dilophosaurus venom. As not Jimmy Kimmel. God, what's his name? Shoot, I'm not a fan.
But yeah, no. Yes, no. Good tips. Good tips. Good
Yeah,
Q tips. Good
yeah.
suggestions.
Oh, that was perfect. That was perfect. Oh
So
my god.
there was one other thing news wise that we should talk about, and it is you actually sent this to me. This is the Evolution 2. They've been doing heaps of promotion. That game is out soon. It's got to be out. What's it, November? Is it
Yeah,
November? Hmm.
yeah. I believe it was. And then I
So
forgot again.
yeah.
It's like, oh shoot.
But the tweet was posted this morning, and it says, in Chaos Theory mode, it looks like Jeff Goldblum and Jesse Cox get ready for a wavy ride. What have they done? Watch the world premiere of Chaos Theory on Friday, October 8th, 7 p.m. BST and 11 a.m. PST. So I think, yeah, they're revealing what the Chaos Theory game mode is.
Yeah, and I think wavy ride might be a clue of sorts. Could be talking about the Mosasaurus because when a Mosasaurus swims, it might make waves in the ocean.
Ooh.
That's just my theory. That's my theory. So
It's an
chaos
interesting
theory.
theory. I mean, I have my own, thoughts about evolution too, but the set that they're on in this video is very cool.
It looks like my hometown because I live in a desert that looks, well, not as clean looking as that desert set does, but it has Joshua trees and saguaro cacti
You gotta
and
love it. I
things like
mean,
that.
that's just some attention to detail, and they're obviously
Yeah.
pushing that view. So we really are in the evolution 2. We really are venturing out of jungles and the classic, the Five Deaths and Isla Nublar. We're going into new environments, and that's something that will be prominent in that game.
Yeah, and
You
I think you
excited?
guys mentioned Well, oh yeah, I'm definitely excited for it. And one of the things I am excited about is how much of it is connected to Dominion, which I know you guys talked about before, I believe on the last episode. Um, so that's, I wonder if they do spend some time in the desert kind of environment for more than just like, 30 seconds or so, or if there actually is like a set piece in the desert. That would be definitely different for a Jurassic movie.
Mm.
I don't know. Given the shooting locations, I'm probably guessing not that for the ones that they've revealed anyway.
Well, we know that I'm pretty sure Chris Pratt went to that island. No, or was that Malta? No, it was
Malta,
Malta, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah, that's the only one that I know of. But maybe
So I
there's
guess no, I
another
don't
one.
know. They definitely spend some time in snowy environments,
Yeah.
which we know of from Dominion footage reveals and things like that.
Yeah.
We know that is it Socotra, that island?
Oh, I forgot about that one.
That
Yeah.
I believe that most of that footage was from that prehistoric scene.
Okay.
That's where a lot of that ended up, which makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
that prehistoric scene. Did you get a chance to see that? You go to an IMAX?
Yeah. I saw it in the IMAX. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw it legally.
Yeah, yeah. You can
Yes.
definitely see it illegally, but it's one of those
Yeah.
scenes that truly is. It was so mesmerizing to see it on screen because it's so
Yeah.
impressive, and it's something. If you are a frequent listener, you'll know that I don't really have uh, a lot of love for the Jurassic World movies so far, but Dominion, that scene when I saw it in a cinema, it genuinely gave me chills, and it felt like Jurassic. It felt like a really good. Um, it felt right, and that's something that I hope the rest of the movie feels like that, and kind of holds that feeling.
Yeah, it had that kind of pseudo documentary kind of feel, like Walking with Dinosaurs, the original, not that movie version.
Yeah.
Or even like the Disney movie Dinosaur, which, for all its issues, with the talking dinosaurs, I mean, it did have some breathtaking scenery, especially in its very own first opening 5 minutes. That's like the best part of the movie, where there is no dialogue or anything. So, I
Right.
mean, it definitely had that kind of grand epic dinosaur feeling, but also in this case a bit more authentic for what we currently know about
Yes.
dinosaurs and their environment. So
Yeah. It was a really great scene. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with Evolution 2 and how much that ties in.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
I'm hoping it does. I mean, even like the vehicles, like for the wildlife, vehicles, like the parks and recreation kind of stuff. No pun
mhm.
intended there with Chris Pratt being involved. But yeah, it's no. I mean, it seems like they're definitely carrying some of the aesthetics. But I don't know. They need to reveal more, which apparently they soon will.
Mm,
Um, so
mm,
we'll
mm.
see.
Interesting. I am looking forward to it. I think it'll be a nice Christmas game.
Well, what are your concerns for Jurassic World Evolution 2?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So my so I seem to be in the minority, but I know that there are a lot of people that are feeling the same. Um, so far the gameplay, it does look good, but it doesn't look like, in terms of graphics, it doesn't look any better than the first. And the first
Yeah.
looked fantastic, so don't get me wrong, it's not a negative. It's just it feels like Jurassic World Evolution 1.5. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel any different. And I know that they're exploring a lot more territories and locations and game modes. I'm sure it will be fantastic, but to me it doesn't look any different. And it doesn't I don't know, it's just, I guess part of it comes from the fact that I really want a different kind of game. Uh,
I get it. I
it's
do get
tough.
that.
It's
Yeah.
tough. There's just, yeah.
Well, my big issue with the first Jurassic World Evolution game was that it just didn't feel enough like Jurassic Park, or even in some cases Jurassic World somehow, which I thought was very strange because the dinosaurs look spot on. I mean, I have no problem with the way the dinosaurs look in terms of like matching like the movie counterparts too and that kind of thing.
It's
Um,
arguably the best bit. The textures as well on those dinosaurs is just insane.
yeah, yeah, and their behaviors are really seem authentic for what it is as well. Um, but yeah, I don't know. There's something about it. It just doesn't feel oddly enough, doesn't feel as immersive as I want it to be. I don't know how to really change that though. That's the weird thing. I think I think what you're saying holds for me as well, is that I just kind of want a different game. I want to explore it like, like a, like walking first person basically.
Hmm.
Which, you can follow around certain guests kind of, and, you
You
can
can draw.
be in
I
the
think
tours.
the thing I do the most is build the park, get it up, whatever. Usually, I'll always play like the Return to Jurassic Park DLC.
Yeah,
That's kind of like I
the
want
best
that
one.
aesthetic. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But I'll get in a Jeep and I'll just drive around, and
yeah.
I feel like that's the best way to explore your park. It's first person. Well, it's third person in the Jeep, right?
Yeah, or if you do like the tour, like if you create a Jurassic Park tour with the tour vehicles, you can be in the tour vehicle and just let it take you on the ride, which
Yeah.
I do. That's what I like doing too, just kind of getting that first person, because that is first person perspective for that.
Yeah, that
Um,
really is great. But I think Chris maybe brought this up. The replay value, unless you're just really into it, it just isn't there. Like I haven't
yeah,
played Evolution in a long time, and I I don't know. I remember playing.
yeah,
I was a kid, so it's different. But I played Operation Genesis non-stop. And I went back to that game and I did it again and I did it again. And that game was just so good. And you feel immersive and you feel like you're in the park and the park feels real. The park
yeah.
that you built feels real. And the game has flaws. Yeah, it's what? How old is that game? It's got to be
It came out when Jurassic Park 3 came out, so that was in
20,
2001.
20
Yeah,
years old.
yeah. It's an old game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, it just doesn't really. I think we do just need a different game at this point, especially when the last big Jurassic Park game was another park builder. So it's like they replaced that with another park builder. So it's like, okay, now it's, instead of doing a sequel to the park builder, let's do a new game, which I know they almost did for Jurassic World. They almost did a first person shooter, right?
It was
That
a
almost happened.
yeah. So Jurassic World Survivor. It was a first
Yeah,
slash. It could have been a third person because they had. It was all the run cycles of Owen and different characters and dinosaurs, and it was the full body. Um, but then I think there was a screenshot that was first person. You had a gun. You had a Spaz 12. It looked like Muldoon and a Raptor, something like that. They were
yeah,
definitely exploring the thing that a lot of us want to see. It's just yeah, if you don't want to play Evolution, then you can play a mobile game, or you can play
yeah.
another mobile game, or you can play what else is there? Oh, or you can grab yourself a very expensive Oculus headset and play a VR game, which doesn't feel like VR. It feels like, well, it's the comic book
Yeah.
stuff. It's weird.
It kind of back on Aftermath just for a moment. Like, it is interesting how, like, they did a comic book approach to that, whereas like a new game that came out on VR and also on PC and everything else was a remake of Myst, which is like the original like computer game of its time from the 90s. It's like first person, not a shooter, but like kind of like a puzzle solving game where you're in different worlds linking between different books that you touch, kind of portals like that. And that looks amazing. Like, they made it look like, the game but real, basically. Like, they made it look come to life in, 3 dimensions and everything. So it's like, and that's just like a small little gaming company that did that. Like, they're kind of like a, self-supporting kind of game company that, did the VR version of Myst. So you think with Universal's backing, they can put out whatever money they want to in it, pretty much, especially for one of their biggest franchises, Jurassic Park. I mean, what are they waiting for?
It's so weird. It's so weird. The history of Jurassic has a load of cancelled games, and usually the cancelled ones are the ones that we all want to play, like Jurassic Park Survival, I think it was called.
Yeah, and what's funny, they had a trailer for that game on the Jurassic Park 3 soundtrack, because it was one of those enhanced soundtrack CDs.
Love it.
And it actually had a trailer. You just pop the CD into your computer and it would come up with like the like trailer, like little production notes and everything, when they used to do cool stuff for releases like that.
Hmm.
And yeah, one of those extra features was a trailer for Jurassic Park Survival that never came out.
Which to this day, I still watch that trailer and wish we got that game. I remember having it
Yeah,
pre-ordered, and I can't remember. I think it was Amazon. My dad had pre-ordered it for me, and I was waiting on that. And then I used to remember checking like GameSpot and IGN and just seeing like coming soon, coming soon. And then I remember my dad telling me once, looks like they've cancelled the game, son. And it was
Your
like,
heart was
oh,
crushed.
I know. It was like these are pre-social media days. So I had nowhere to go, nowhere to vent.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just swung my fists around in anger. No, I that
I
was
know
it
you
was
did.
sad because that game was it could have been cool. I mean, obviously now it looks so dated and so bad,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. It's like,
we needed that.
yeah.
We needed that. Well, hopefully at some point they will realize. Maybe post it. Maybe the thing is they're waiting for this current story to wrap up so that it can be ready for what comes next, and that's when they'll explore the full thing. I don't know.
That's what I'm hoping for. I mean, it's interesting to feel right now like, oh, originally if COVID hadn't happened, we would have already seen Dominion by now. And
It's
this would
true.
have all been all old news, and you know, and maybe Jurassic
We'd
World
be
Evolution 2 would have been different, you know.
That's it. And you and I would be sat here right now. We'd be talking about Jurassic World 4 and all of our expectations for that movie. Which
Exactly.
we'll do when Dominion comes out. Obviously, there will be a number 4. Or I don't know. Would they rename it? Would they call it something else? Jurassic
Universe.
Universe.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jurassic
Where do you
Planet.
go from Jurassic World? Jurassic Island again. It goes back to an island.
Yeah,
They
why
just
not just go well, I don't know. It's like I hope they do like spin-offs instead of like, you know, just like another trilogy kind of thing. I'd rather just have like these different isolated stories just for, you know, a single movie. Kind of like what you know, Battle of Big Rock. I mean, it was kind of part of the story, but not. It was an isolated incident. You know, they could expand upon something like that for a whole hour and a half or 2 hours. It would be fun, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
I mean,
definitely
can't.
something that we've discussed before. Is after these big budget blockbuster movies, would do we just want to see a TV show or do we want to see smaller movies?
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, you look at movies like A Quiet Place, and I think I said this on the last podcast, but you replace the sort of creatures in that with velociraptors, and you got yourself a Jurassic movie.
yeah,
And
easily.
it would, I mean, just do it. I mean, it's Jurassic World. It's done nothing but get bigger and bigger as time has gone on. But the thing that made Jurassic was the isolation and the smallness of it, the tightness of it, and that's something. Obviously, I know that Colin said that he's aiming for that in Dominion. It's going to go there or something. But let's
Yeah.
hope post Dominion there is some exploration into that. Maybe that's something even Colin himself wants to explore.
I hope so, because I know I'm sure with a lot of these big franchises, they're kind of afraid to go smaller after going so big. They
Yeah.
feel like they have to keep getting bigger to bring people back. Well, I guess what they don't always realize is that you can actually go smaller and still bring back, you know, the same audience or even the bigger audience. Kind of like some of these reboots actually try to do that, like with like the new Halloween reboots. Like, you know, they did Rob Zombie's reboot for a while, and that tried to go really big, you know, in terms of how a story like that could go, like overdo it and make it be extra insane, basically. But now they've taken that out of the equation. They've replaced it with like, oh, let's bring back the old characters, you know, the old cast, and you know, not be quite so over the top, I guess, but still be engaging. I feel like they
And
kind of did
Halloween
that.
worked. That I thought it was a
Yeah,
great movie.
yeah,
Not perfect, but
no.
it's so many years on, and it's a slasher horror, so it's is what it is. It worked.
Yeah,
Have you seen? Is it out yet? Halloween Kills or Halloween
it comes out, I think, in a week or 2 weeks. It's very
streaming
soon.
as well? Streaming and cinemas at the same time. Is that right?
Yes, on Peacock, which is the Universal Studio streaming service. We're plugging that in right now because we
Uh,
want that extra money. Thank
that's
you.
it. Yeah, that's
Um,
it.
yes, yes. Join Peacock. Actually, Peacock's not really that bad. I mean, they have like a free option, so I mean, why not? I mean, you could still watch some stuff with like commercials, but they also have. Oddly enough, they do not have the Jurassic Park movies right now.
I think Jurassic Park's still on Netflix, right? So Netflix currently has the streaming rights for
Well, it
Jurassic.
kind of bounces around. I think it's on HBO right now, believe it or
Oof.
not. Yeah, because it was on HBO Max. At least for a while, it was. So, I mean, certain movies are still in limbo because of the rights issues, like you said. But it's just kind of like, who knows when it's going to end up there. But I don't know. I mean, it's funny that Camp Cretaceous is like a Netflix show, so it's like it could never go to Peacock, which
I
is the
love that. Yeah, I
Universal
really love
platform.
that. That's the thing.
So,
I mean, this is a bit of a detour, but Netflix. I feel like the studios should have just bought into Netflix instead of, because the idea of Netflix was to solve this issue of all these different platforms and all these different areas and all these different places to go to get your
yeah,
films, videos, TV shows. Netflix kind of solved that for a lot of people. You pay £6 a month or $10 a month or however much you pay, and everything's there. Everything you want is there. But then Disney Plus, HBO, all these different platforms, Amazon started coming in, and now we've reached a point where we're back in the same place. You either pay $50 a month for every platform and you have your choice of what you want to watch, or you pick and choose, and it becomes frustrating. And again, all it's gonna do is lead people to pirating movies, because they're at a
yeah,
point where it's like, I can't afford it right now. I can't afford all these
yeah.
platforms. So yeah, it's a shame. I feel like, Universal could have bought into Netflix and just had a bunch of their titles on there and reaped some of the rewards from that. I don't know. Most people have Netflix at this point. It was the first, and you know,
Yeah, I think honestly Disney Plus kind of was the one that began the dark cycle that we're in now.
yeah,
Like I don't know, because I guess the way that Disney Plus, for example, saw it was, hey, if we can make our own streaming service, have all of our own content on there, which for them at least, they do have a vast library of content that they could put on one service that they don't even have to make up, even though they are anyway with shows like The Mandalorian. Um, but I mean, they get 100% of the streaming money, which is why they like to do the streaming of their movies simultaneously with theatrical releases too, because it cuts out the middleman. Which, in the case that you're talking about, like breaking away from Netflix, they're cutting out, the Netflix amount of money that they would make from Disney movies. So now it's just all 100% Disney. So I'm sure that's what all studios wanted to
right.
go for.
Yeah. I mean, Disney Plus, I remember when they launched, they had The Simpsons on there, but the original, I mean, it must have been up to the first 12 seasons of The Simpsons, maybe more, maybe less, was in 4:3. It was square format.
Yeah.
And they cropped it so it was 16:9, so it was widescreen.
Oh God,
But
I hate that.
a lot of The Simpsons was visual jokes, and they cropped out a lot of the jokes. They said they fixed it. To this day, they have not fixed it. So, I mean, I mean, who likes new Simpsons? No one. But if you watch the
Right.
original Simpsons, Disney Plus is not the place to go for that, because you're gonna
No.
miss stuff, you know. Um, but that's a
Yeah.
complete departure from what we were talking about, Derek.
Well, sorry.
Derek, you bought something, and that something arrived.
Yes, it has arrived. The one, the only, Ray Arnold with Velociraptor.
With pouncing Velociraptor. You got the San Diego Comic Con 2021 special edition set. It's a beast.
3 minutes, I can have power back on the entire park.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
It is
can't
actually,
see it.
it is a really sick set. It is a really cool piece.
Hold on to your butts.
That's what happens. And that's what happens when you hold on to your butt. Yeah.
So I find it interesting that they made, I guess it's kind of a play. It's not really a play set. It's like a set, figure set, for a scene that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it is interesting because I do like the concept of it, because obviously it happened, because he was in there, he got ripped apart by the raptor, his arm fell off, like,
Yeah.
it fell off somehow. So I mean, that's what happened. So I mean, it's filling in the the blanks for fans, which is kind of cool that they can. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of toys anyway, like for kids and adults. But to imagine
it's
what could
true.
have been.
And Chris and I were lucky enough, we worked on the launch video for the figure itself, and just working with Mattel, like we learned, obviously we worked with them with Beyond the Gates as well, but you learn very early on that the guys there, everybody that works there, they are actual fans. I mean, they're real fans. They understand the lore. They understand a lot. And two of the guys that were running this project, they this was like an ultimate dream for them to create this sequence that didn't exist in the movie in a toy form, and they got to do that. And I just think that's so cool because as a fan, that is actually something that I want as well. And
Yeah,
it's just really cool to see. I mean, Ray Arnold figure with detachable arm. Come on.
yeah. I think all fans. I mean, for one, all fans always wanted a Ray Arnold figure. I
Right.
believe. I mean, I did, and they also have the Amber Collection version. But I mean, this one is just like It's such a fun packaging. For one, it's amazing packaging. They made it look like the shed from Jurassic Park and everything. And I even like the God, what would we call it inside? Like the high voltage box and everything.
Yes.
Like, I love that they included that. So, I mean, what's fun is, I mean, you would have to turn off the audio or not push the button, but you could even put the Ellie figure in with the raptor in that same scene, for a scene that did happen. And you could actually recreate that as well. So
the only figure they're missing is Lex.
Yeah, that's been a long time coming. I mean, I'm sure. I'm sure it is coming. I mean, I know nothing, but I'm sure it's coming eventually.
It's got to be coming. I mean, if they don't, but that's it. I almost feel like maybe they're holding it because it's been held for so long, and they're just like keeping it held. They probably got it. It's ready. It's packaged. It's ready to go, and they're just like, nah, it's not the time.
Yeah. I really hope, and I hope they are doing it. If they're not doing it, I hope they're listening, and I hope they do something with Lex. Maybe they're trying to figure out what kind of set to put her in. I mean, they could have just put her in with Tim and the main road set that they came out with the Explorer. But maybe that would have cost more, of course, more than the price point they would have wanted. But, Tim and Lex together in a set like that would have been great too. But I don't know. I mean, some people say that they could do like the whole, Lex with the baby Triceratops, which was a cut scene from the original script of Jurassic Park. In various scripts, she did that, but even the David Koepp script, they even made the animatronic model for Stan Winston, as I'm sure a lot of fans know. So I mean, maybe they could do that.
I mean, they did this set, so
exactly
that would be really cool. I think that would be a great exclusive. Maybe they're saving it for next year's Comic-Con. Maybe that'll be that year's exclusive. They've done Hammond, they've done Nedry, they've done Ray Arnold. It'll be Lex.
Yeah.
We can only hope.
Get on it.
Yeah, come on, guys. We have a couple of questions, Derek. We have some questions to talk about, to answer, to prompt discussion. These questions are always great, but we missed one last episode. We missed a question. So Siaka asks, out of all of the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World supporting characters so far, which would you pick as a protagonist for a future Jurassic film?
Ooh, that's a good one.
So supporting characters as well.
Yeah. And I guess we have to use characters that the actors are still alive, perhaps. Like, I would love a Roland Tembo movie, but the actor that played him died a few years ago, I believe. Man.
Pete Postlethwaite.
Yes.
No, okay, hang on. So they're obviously, he's not dead, but they've recast Cameron Thor as Louis Dodson for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
He's a little kid.
Look it up. Yeah.
But no, yeah. So I mean, okay, let's just go with any. They can be dead or alive.
Okay, I guess that's true. They could just recast him.
Yeah,
but
hard to catch Roland Tembo though. Very iconic. Very iconic.
Yeah, that's the problem. But I guess putting that aside, I guess I would still like a Roland Tembo movie, even though he did make it clear, like, oh, I'm no longer in the company of death at the end of Lost World. But they got Alan Grant to come back to Isla Nublar. So yeah. I mean, anything can happen in this franchise, as we all know. So I don't know. It could be interesting to have another story with him.
Roland Tembo, I think that would be great. Yeah. I mean, I'd see it. I think he's probably one of, if not my favorite character in the franchise. It's just such a well-written character. He's not a villain, it's brilliant. That's a great pick. I mean, it's tough because is Tim a supporting character?
Yeah, I would say supporting character. Yeah.
So I'd probably go with Tim Murphy. I mean, back when I was a kid, after Jurassic Park 3, I always wanted, Tim Murphy's back, and it's something to do with John Hammond, his grandfather, and it's Jurassic Park 4, and I would love a Tim Murphy movie. I'm not sure what era would be good for that, but I guess somewhere between Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World is that sort of era that I still want to venture into.
Yes.
With these abandoned islands, and considering, what may have happened to them and who has visited them. But I guess maybe Tim Murphy.
That's a good one.
Or, you know what? It's tough. I can't think of anyone from the Jurassic World era, but, Eric Kirby. Eric Kirby, post Jurassic Park 3, maybe at the time post Dominion, when the world is, come into the place it's in. It's Eric Kirby's already survived it once. I mean, it's his time to shine, no?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Or even Kelly. I mean,
okay, yeah,
that could be interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
Kelly. I can't do it.
Kelly would be. Actually, Kelly would be sick. It's funny. It's all the kids.
Yeah. What about, they have good personalities, so you kind of want to see where they went to next with those personalities and those characters. Would be fun, I guess.
Especially after basically near death for all of them. Where would they be? I guess as well. More of a, I guess, a supporting character like Nick Van Owen.
Yeah.
Have you seen Freaky? Have you seen Freaky?
Yes. Yes. It was a fun movie.
It's a great movie. I mean, that's the thing. Vince Vaughn, he hasn't really done many serious roles. Lost World, one of his serious roles. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he's a great comedy actor too. But I'd love to see him reprise Nick Van Owen in the modern world. I think that would be. I think that would be great.
What do you think the chances are that there's still possible cameos from characters like that in Dominion? Like, especially when you have Ian Malcolm back. Like, I know Julianne Moore has said that she's basically not in it, or she's made like an Instagram post or something, which obviously we can't check for right now. But I mean, especially when you have a characters like, Ian Malcolm back, he's got to at least bring up Sarah or Kelly or someone like. But what do you think are the chances of them actually just having like a walk-on appearance that no one knows about yet?
I think they would be silly not to, and I swear it's something that has come up before. Is that if Ian Malcolm's back and he's got quite a prominent role, is he going to mention his daughter Kelly? Is he going to mention his wife Sarah Harding? Is she going to be there? I mean, it would make the most sense for Julianne Moore's character to return in this movie. And
for sure.
I doubt she does. I feel like we'd know by now. But I mean, even if they're just there for a second or two,
it's all we want.
Man, could you imagine seeing Sarah Harding stood there with a fully grown-up Kelly? It would just be so cool. But I bet it would have come out by now. Like Vanessa Lee Chester would have said something on Twitter or Instagram. She would have I don't know.
Unless she's in on it. Like she's part of it too. She's like NDA, can't say shit. So
But I think that's a great question. I think there are a lot of characters actually that the more you go into it, the more it would be really interesting. Even like a Roland Tembo, not Roland Tembo, Robert Muldoon.
If only
Jurassic, or like in his time learning the raptors,
or like a John Hammond movie, but that he's more of a main character though, so maybe that's kind of off the question a bit.
Yes, come on, Derrick, he's a lead.
I just have to plug him in.
Yeah.
See, Jurassic Park is like more of an ensemble movie anyway. I mean, I guess it is kind of more focused on Grant more than anyone else, but I mean,
yeah, I'd say Grant, Ellie, and Malcolm are like the main characters in that movie, right? They've got to be, and obviously the dinosaurs, I guess.
They're the real stars. So I mean, actually, all the human characters are just side characters.
They're all supporting characters.
Yeah. So we choose anybody.
But I think there's a lot there, and that's a really interesting question. But let's go through some more. So we've had one from Bad Jurassic Takes asks. I love this account, by the way. This account.
I think I've seen them before.
Good afternoon. What are your associations with the NSA and the CIA? Well, Yeah, no, absolutely no comment on that. So we'll move on.
No.
Allosaurus says, if Roberta dies, what predator would take over the dominant predator role on the mainland? Allosaurus, Carnotaurus, or do you think new Rexes will be bred? It's fun to speculate how dinosaur ecosystems would work on the mainland with species from all different eras mixed together. And then they followed up. And do you think we will ever see wild velociraptors again? I'm kind of disappointed that all the wild raptors on Sauna are dead, at least as far as we know. Hope we get to see them again someday. And what happened to the JP3 Pteranodons? What happened to the ones that were left on Sauna? There were 4. It's one question per person.
Yeah, wait a minute.
You cheated. The Lost World variant. Sorry for so many questions. Have a great day. Blah, blah, blah. No, it's all good. Great questions. So if the main T-Rex dies, which I think there was a lot of speculation that she probably will, right? She's old.
Yeah, that could be like, especially with the opening showing her. God, that'd be so cruel though to watch her die twice in one movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really her, obviously. It's the original version of the Rex, but I mean, that's still like, wow.
It's that royal bloodline, though. The royal bloodline.
I think she's gonna live then because they show her being killed, or her original being killed in the opening. So then the ending would be she kills the Giganotosaurus in the end.
Oof. I mean,
my theory.
Real. We know there's a Giganotosaurus attack. I mean, did they even talk about it? The Giga and the T-Rex fight in the movie.
Yeah,
post the prehistoric scene. Yeah. So if the Giga wins, then that's Colin taking a stance and saying the Giga is the new king. But I just don't see it happening. I feel like the T-Rex is going to win that one. He wouldn't want the backlash that the Spino got, even though Spino is the true queen.
That is true. That is true. Assis, right? Assis. Oh, he's yeah. No, actually, or another theory: maybe they both die. Ooh. How about no dinosaurs?
That would work too. I feel like humans would be happy with that.
Yeah, or like he kills the Giganotosaurus first, and then it's dead, and he's still just kind of crawling on. The Rex is still crawling on the ground, like, oh, I'm bleeding out, I'm dying, but at least I killed him. And then his heartbeat just kind of goes bum 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 bum, like in Godzilla 1998.
Yes,
and then he just dies. There you go.
And then it lays a load of eggs and. I wonder.
Starts over.
Will there be more T-Rexes? That's great. Will they breed more?
I hope so. I mean, there's got to be more than one. I mean, we love our queen, but there can always be a new queen with a new king. So
I mean, that's it. There was a king and queen on Sauna, and we loved seeing them. They really made the Lost World. Seeing them both together, that was terrifying for Eddie Carr.
Best family ever. I mean, come on.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. So will we see wild velociraptors again?
Ooh, I hope so. Because I'm sure you agree with me on this, but that's the thing that's been missing from the Jurassic World movies is the fright factor of the raptors. I mean, Blue is not scary. I'm sorry. She's not scary to me. No. She's a lovable puppy. Come on.
She's as cute as Baby Bumpy. She's...
Well, maybe not that cute. Let's not push it. But, let's not push it.
It is weird. I think I know that there's some lore, Jurassic... well, it's not a live Jurassic World live tour. There's wild velociraptors in Chile.
Yeah, the live show. I know what you mean. Like
live
the stage show. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Which I almost got to see if it hadn't been for COVID. Damn COVID. Ruining everything.
Ruining dinosaur time.
Yeah, my time. Yeah.
Wild raptors, I think in Dominion, we've got the Atrociraptors and potentially other types of raptors. So I think that's how they're filling the gap of velociraptors. I think Blue...
Yeah.
And Baby Blue will still be the only sort of velociraptors that there will be. And then in terms of Sauna, I don't think anybody really knows what's going to happen with Sauna, or if we're even going to get the answers we so desire about that island. But I just don't
know
like
what their
the
problem
idea.
Is. Like, what is so wrong with Sauna now? Like, why don't they want to? I mean, I know they did name drop it in Fallen Kingdom, so it still exists. canon wise in the current canon, so it is there. But
Yeah.
what is their problem with Sorna? Why can't they
I
just
don't
address it?
know. And why did the viral marketing say that all the dinosaurs there are dead? They were either moved off the island or they were, shot in the face. I don't understand. I just leave the island alone. I don't
Yeah.
get it. I mean, I'd
I
like to
don't
think the JP3 pteranodons are still alive. Oh no. So they, in the lore, they left the island at the end of Jurassic Park 3. They flew away, and the main character smiled. Hopefully they don't land in Oklahoma. And they were back in time for tea. No, I don't know. I just...
Okay, Sean.
So Vic Hoskins led the roundup that captured them or killed them. I don't know. What would they have done with them? They probably would have just killed them, right? What would they have done with them?
And that's why he got hired for Jurassic World, right? That was the whole backstory that they made on one of the websites. I can't remember which one that came from. I'm pretty sure
it was
it came
either
from a
Masrani
website.
or DPG. I think it may have been the ZPG site. I don't know. I
Maybe.
didn't. But yeah. So what happened to the ones that were left on Sauna? That's probably what happened. They were shot in the face, and there were 4 caged and all the.
Which I guess you could kind of insinuate from the scene in Jurassic World when those Pteranodons were escaping and their own team, the same team, Hoskins' team, shot them down, and that's it. You're done with them. Maybe that's what we're supposed to just assume anyway from that breakout, that they deal with breakouts the same way.
Yeah.
So
maybe. But great questions there. So James Ronan asks, what's better in Dominion, Claire and Owen kissing again, or Ellie and Alan?
I would say Ellie and Alan if I had to choose, or the no kissing option was a good one too.
Yeah. I'd rather no kisses in my Jurassic, but if I had to be 2, then I guess Ellie and Alan. But
yeah,
I mean, it really isn't necessary in a Jurassic, I don't think.
Well, we've seen Claire and Owen kiss enough twice now already
during disasters.
It's like, are they together or not? Just pick it. Pick a side of what you want with these people. Just do it.
I know.
Do it off screen, so then we can just focus on the main stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Like, okay, they're together. Great. Move on.
Interesting question. I don't know. I guess Ellie and Alan. But there were leaked photos that showed Ellie and Alan kissing. However, that could just be non-filming. They could have just been kissing, the actors.
Yeah.
You never know.
Because for fun.
Because why not? For fun, yeah. No one's watching us. Let's just kiss.
Yeah. Let's cause a panic on the internet for whenever Facebook comes back. Yeah.
Boom. But it's interesting because I know that because of COVID, when Dominion filmed, nobody was allowed, within 6 feet of each other. They were really abiding by those rules. Would they have got away with a kiss?
Yeah, and that's actually something that I'm still worried about, is that they did film a very big percentage of the movie during COVID, and I'm wondering how many corners they had to cut to do certain things, like using animatronics for one. Like, did they have to use them less because of COVID, in terms of having too many people around in one, stage kind of thing? I mean, I am kind of worried that something like that happened. For example, I don't know if you watched the show The Walking Dead. I don't think anyone does anymore but me. I just kind of started actually. But they did like 10 special extended episodes that they shot during COVID. And they all were very lackluster episodes. I'm sure part of that's because of the writing, but it's also probably because they had so many restrictions of what they could do. Like, they barely had too many zombies in one scene, for example. So, I mean, I'm wondering if corners like that were cut because of COVID. That's the one thing that has me worried. So
yeah, no, it's an interesting point. I know that they probably ended up using a lot of forced perspective on things like that to make actors appear closer than they are. And will that have an effect on performances? Will that have an effect on the movie? I guess that remains to be seen. These are masters at work, so I'm sure it's all gonna kind of come together anyway and feel fine. But good question.
Oh, it better.
It better, yeah, or else
it better.
There will be blood.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Red Raptor asks, what do you think about the Camp Cretaceous fan theories, like Hawks being the British Merc in Fallen Kingdom, or Sammy being related to Marty Gutierrez?
Gutierrez? Gutierrez.
Gutierrez. Yes. I'm really pronouncing that poorly. Do you guys have any of your own headcanons concerning the show? Do you, Derek?
Not really any headcanons. I mean, I do love the show though. I do genuinely like Camp Cretaceous quite a bit, especially the first season and the last season, season 3, were very good seasons, and I did like the directions that they, took the canon and how they played around with it, because that was always the big thing with Jurassic World. It's like they had this park and they had all these different toys, but I feel like they didn't really get to play with the toys as much as I wanted them to. So I think Camp Cretaceous did that. But I guess to answer the question, I don't really have any extra headcanon for the characters of that show, to be honest. I kind of just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. And I'm more curious about where it's going, which direction it's headed in. Because it seems like the most logical option is Isla Sorna for season 4, but I don't know if it will. I feel like now it's almost too obvious that they won't do it, and then it'll just be like, well, what happened to Sorna? Where are they going to go? Are they going to go to a Manticore location? Are they going to go to a Biosyn location? It's kind of like, how are they going to go there from? Because last thing we know, they're on a boat. Are they going to get rescued? Are they going to go back home, see their parents?
Well, and didn't you guys say
camp was good? Thank you.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah,
we almost died a million times. But
yeah.
No, it's interesting because I know you guys brought this up on a previous episode. Like, if not Sorna, then where would they go? They already confirmed that they're not going back to Nublar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if they're not going back there, then where else can you go to carry the story? Especially when it's in between Fallen Kingdom. So it's before the dinosaurs are taken off of Nublar. So it's like, that anyone knows of course. That's the whole point of the show, is like, oh, here's more stuff you didn't know of, like the Scorpius Rex, which is awesome. So maybe there is, like you said, like a Biosyn location or a Manticore. Because why bring up Manticore if you're not going to do anything with it? Which so far they really haven't. So
exactly. Yeah,
it's got to happen at some point. So maybe
it's the one thing after season 1, when I was watching season 2 and 3, it's the one thing I was waiting for, was like, where's Manticore? Where's Manticore? And they never show up, and it's weird. No. It's like this storyline that they just kind of forgot about. But there's obviously a reason. I think the Dominion delay obviously played a lot with Camp Cretaceous and what they could and couldn't show. So So we've who do you think's the best? So Alejandro Q, believe I've said that correctly. What do you think is the best thing that has come out from the Jurassic World era?
Ooh, there's been good stuff. So I'm not thinking like, oh, this is hard, like, because there's nothing. No, this is hard because there's a lot of good stuff that came out of this. Well, it did revitalize the franchise. And even like the theme parks. As we know, like, Jurassic Park the Ride in Hollywood got updated into Jurassic World the Ride. And if anyone had been on Jurassic Park, before, it got turned into that, it definitely was getting a bit rusty. I still love the original version better overall, but it definitely needed some updates and needed some upkeep. And I think without Jurassic World,
overhaul, it really did.
Yeah, definitely.
Animatronics needed complete replacing. I think that's. I haven't ridden Jurassic World the ride, but I rode Jurassic Park the ride in Hollywood for the first time with you, with a bunch of guys in Jurassic Park 25. That was fun. But I think my main thing was they've done really is given it a fresh coat of paint, and they've added an animatronic Indoraptor. Indominus Rex, which looks great, and they've kind of updated the whole beginning of it, so it's not just dinosaurs that pop out of the water and spray at you and things like that. But it would have been great to have that update a few years before Jurassic World. But so it remained Jurassic Park, but maybe it had a Spinosaurus and maybe it had a couple of other dinosaurs, and I feel like that could have been great. It's a shame because it doesn't feel like a new ride; it just feels like an updated version for the new era. It's still the same. You still take the same journey, on a river raft, basically.
And I'm sure part of that's because it would just cost way too much to gut out that entire ride and do something completely fresh. But luckily they have done a couple fresh rides now. In Orlando, they have the Velocicoaster, which I have not been on that yet, but I mean
It's the
it's a pretty
tallest
nicely
coaster in
themed.
Florida.
Oh, is that what they're saying?
Mm.
Brava. That's yeah.
Tallest coaster in Florida and something like the biggest loop or something like that. I don't know.
See, but to me, that doesn't scream Jurassic Park or World as much as the Beijing ride that they have
Oh,
created. I'm
come on.
jealous.
That really does look like the best Jurassic ride ever. That's
Yeah.
so fun. That's so fun. Not as
Yeah.
fun as the Harry Potter ride, but you know.
No. Oh, we'll get to the Harry Potter ride again. Don't worry. We'll circle back to that in a bit.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
But the best thing that's come out of the Jurassic World era. Come on, one thing. The one best thing.
Oh, God.
Could be anything.
Well,
Is it that Ray Arnold set behind you?
no, although that's a very
No.
it is a positive, but not the positive. I don't know. I guess for me, it really was going back to Nublar and seeing what became of it, like kind of seeing that kind of Hammond's original vision realized in some form. Maybe not quite the way he would have done it, but and even seeing like the old visitor center again, as imperfect as that whole thing was too. Like that was stuff I always wanted to see, and that's. I love kind of going back to that world, especially after it was 14 years between Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World. And, the community was still there, the fan community, but it obviously took a big hit because so much time had passed. So it's kind of nice to be able to reconnect with people because it's something that, everyone loves so much. That's something that is really nice because you can't say that for everything.
No.
I mean, you can say that for Harry Potter, of course.
Oh, come on. Yes.
Not much else.
But Derrick, who is Richard Tanner?
God, who is Richard Tanner?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Did we have to look it up?
John Bell.
It's like, oh God, yes. So, okay, so are you talking about the Jurassic Park 3 concept stuff or
so his Jurassic Park 4 concept stuff. Richard Tanner's Jurassic Park, remember?
Yes.
And it was so John Bell, you can tell the story. John Bell.
Yeah, so John Bell, I connected with John Bell, who is the art director of the original Jurassic Park. And he created a lot of concepts, concept art and different concepts for different aspects of the film, visual aspects, especially the vehicles. He created the paint schemes for the Explorer and the Jeeps and everything. So, and even the look of the visitor center, he helped in that. So, I mean, he created the whole visual aesthetic of the original Jurassic Park. So when I think of Jurassic Park, I immediately think of, obviously, apart from the movie, I think of his visual art style is what I always think of when I think of Jurassic Park every time. And you've seen it all. If anyone's ever picked up the Making of Jurassic Park book, it's completely all over that book, his artwork. And also he did a lot of art for The Lost World, Jurassic Park as well. He came up with all the vehicle designs for that as well, like the Mercedes and, the Hummers and the mobile lab as well. So like he had his hand in that as well. And he did a little bit work on Jurassic Park 3, not as much, just like a few mostly unused design concepts, like for like motorcycle chase that never happened. So, I mean, he still had his hand in that. But for Jurassic World, they actually brought him back and he did some concepts as well, including like a gate that said Richard Tanner's Jurassic World. And we don't know who the hell that is.
No.
Like, who is Richard Tanner? And he doesn't really know. I asked him about it, of course, and he doesn't really know as well. I mean, I'm sure he got some looked at a script. And if anyone has any Jurassic Park or World scripts out there, please just drop them off at your nearest location near me so I can grab them.
Yes. Drop them in the desert by Derrick.
Yes.
So we can all take a read. Yeah. So he was involved with Jurassic Park 4. Am I right? Before Colin joined.
Yeah, I think it must have, like, during the Colin Silver drafts. Yeah, because it had the gyrosphere still, and I used to think that the gyrosphere was Colin's creation. He made it seem like it was, but maybe that was there all along too. Because he did do some gyrosphere designs. John Bell did. So it's really interesting. I really hope that they release more about the making of Jurassic World someday, kind of fill in those early days blanks that are kind of all in the air right now.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want them to fill in the 14-year gap, because there were so many iterations of Jurassic Park 4 that came and went. We're at a point where, I mean, God, show us what you were planning, because post Jurassic Park 3, I know that they probably were. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy said it herself. They were trying to, and so did Stan Winston, they were trying to balance the science and adventure. So we would have ended up with a movie that explored the science a little bit more. And I feel like the Jurassic Park 4 from 2005, from 2007, 8, 9, 10 would have been a little bit darker, and they would have gone, not horror, not at all, but like a little bit more in line with The Lost World. It seemed like that's kind of where they wanted to go. Scientific adventure, not this kind of classic Jurassic Park 3 blockbuster. They learned from the mistakes there. So, I mean, come on, release the archives. Let's see what was being thought up there. There was a script with Laura Dern leading it. There was a script with Lex Murphy in it. There was, Richard Attenborough spoke about returning and spoke about how he would love to do another Jurassic movie.
That kills me.
It does. It does. I remember.
Could have been back.
I must have it somewhere. I still have it. It must be a clipping from a newspaper of an interview with Richard Attenborough saying, "When Spielberg calls me, I will be there. I would love to reprise the role of John Hammond once again." And it would have been the perfect end to, that whole arc before Jurassic World. But anyway, that's something that I'd love to see. And Richard Tanner is, as you said, he must have got it from an early draft or something. Maybe Richard Tanner was Simon Masrani.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. It was a Masrani-esque character, maybe the same basic scenario of what we ended up getting. I mean, because as we know, like they had Colin and Derrick Connolly had to share the script credit with Jaffa and Silver. So there must have been a lot of that DNA still in the script. So
nice.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I know. That's one script that I really do want to read, though, is the guy who wrote I Am Legend, Mark P. Can't say his surname. I don't know if he ever ended up actually writing a draft, or if he was more of a treatment guy. But the idea is he worked with Spielberg on that, and then it went to Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver, and that is a script that I'd love to see. I know that the Indominus Rex was not a hybrid. It was a new species of dinosaur that had been discovered, and there was more about espionage and people trying to, steal from Jurassic World. And just based on their Planet of the Apes series, I feel like that script was probably pretty sick. I feel like it probably was pretty fun.
And that's the interesting thing when we think of like these alternate versions of like Jurassic World and even Jurassic Park. Like, would it have been better? Maybe not, but would it have been interesting? Definitely. It definitely would have been its own kind of interesting that still would have been fun to watch. So it's fun to imagine that.
Yeah. No, it really was. And I mean, back to that question. So what do you think is the best thing that's come out of the Jurassic World era? Off the top of my head, I genuinely can't think, but I know that the fact that the franchise is now mainstream again, just that as a whole, like Jurassic's, my favorite movie, it's my favorite thing. So that's really good to see. It's good seeing the Jurassic Park logo everywhere, and it's nice to see new fans coming into it and kids that are getting inspired. The fact that there's new video games is great. Obviously, we talk about what we feel is missing, but the fact that Jurassic is back up there is great. And Simon Masrani, what a character. I think I really love his character, and I think that's one of the best aspects of the Jurassic World film is Simon Masrani.
Yeah, no, and it's a shame that, he died in the movie anyway, but I mean, of course, the actor died as well, so it's like, God, I wish we could have seen more of him, because he was a really fun character.
Yeah,
for sure.
He was one of the really uplifting parts of that movie, and it felt like, it felt close enough to that kind of feeling that John Hammond gave off. This, it might not be the right thing that you're doing, but you're so inspiring, and it's just so much love for what he's doing, and just, it was great. Yeah. It would have been great to see more of him. But really great questions. Any final thoughts, Derek? Anything you want to mention?
I guess something I should bring up, and I guess it kind of connects to when we were talking about different versions of like the scripts for Jurassic World, but even Jurassic Park itself had different versions of scripts, and I was actually able to, let's just say, come across one that people hadn't seen before. Well, I mean, not like Dennis Nedry would have, but it was, I copied it. Basically, I made sure that it, you know, left the archives into the fan archives. um, but I mean, yeah, it was a script that it's a very interesting script because originally the whole script writing process for the original Jurassic Park goes like this. So Michael Crichton, after he wrote his novel, was asked to do a couple of script treatments to kind of put them in the right direction of where to take a adaptation of Jurassic Park. So he did do his own drafts, and there's one of those floating around the internet, so you can find that. Not because of me. So yeah, there's one of those out there. And then after that was when this interesting thing happened. So Rick Carter is the production designer of Jurassic Park, and also The Lost World, and he when he gets into his work, apparently he really gets into it, but he goes all the way in terms of how he wants to, you know, imagine and properly detail, you know, his movies that he works on. And he did something that most production designers don't do, and that was he took Jurassic Park's script that Michael Crichton had written, the final draft that he had produced, and he rewrote most of it. Like he rewrote the entire beginning, you know, little bits of the middle, and the entire third act he completely rewrote himself based on their production meetings that they had, like with Spielberg and, you know, Kathleen Kennedy and everyone else involved, you know, at the time. And, you know, even the art directors like John Bell, like they would be part of the meetings, and they would kind of like throw out their ideas of like how to make the movie version of this, and even some, you know, original ideas to make it different even. So he took all these notes from the production meetings, and he kind of cobbled together his own script using Michael Crichton's as the backbone to present to Spielberg and the rest of the production. So that's what he did. And again, that's not a normal thing that happens. Production designers don't do that. Like they don't write their own scripts or anything like that. So that's what I found. And when I found it, I didn't know exactly what it was at first because I had never heard of it. It's never been mentioned before in any production book or even on the internet.
No, it's kind of, you know, if you're a fan, you know that Michael Crichton wrote a script early on. You know that Malia Scotch-Marmo
Yeah.
wrote a script to, correct me if I'm wrong, E.T.
No, she worked on Hook, I believe.
Hook,
yeah,
was it? Yeah,
yeah, she worked on Hook.
But she wrote one, and then obviously David Koepp ended up writing the screenplay. But interesting. So, production designer.
Yeah, and you know, and again, it's kind of like how I mentioned before. It may not have been a better script than what we got. I mean, it's the characters are still kind of in an early flux of, you know, being interesting enough for the movie. But even like there's even a little preface that or preface, preface, however you say it, that Rick Carter Carter put. Sorcerers, philosophers, whatever. I'm an American, and we say what we want, right? Yeah, so they he had a little introduction. There we go, introduction to his script, and it did say that, oh, you know, this is not to be taken seriously, basically in terms of like, oh, use this script, but it's more like giving the ideas that he was going for in a way that was more fluid, and that the characters would have to be reworked. He mentioned that specifically, so he wasn't trying to, you know,
step on anyone's toes. Yeah.
No, yeah. So,
but it just shows the passion, right? It shows the passion that he had for the project, and that everybody who was involved with Jurassic early on felt so much love and care for it that they wanted to do it justice. They wanted it to be perfect, and it is. It's a 14 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, exactly, and it always will be, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah. And it's interesting because I think I got this information from the original making of Jurassic Park book, but Rick Carter was not really interested in dinosaurs before Jurassic Park happened. He wasn't, like, even as a kid, apparently, he was not really into dinosaurs, but he kind of made himself be for the movie's sake. And that's why, you know, he got all into it. So the script, though, is really interesting because it adds some details, you know, that are not in the book or in the movie. Like, there's like a scene with lava fields, which is like, it's just cool. Like a brief little scene, but it's like, you know, little, I mean, they kind of mention it's a volcanic island in the book, but they never like show like actual lava fields or anything like that Grant and the kids walk through. when they're in the middle of the park after the T-Rex breakout. So you got like stuff like that. And then of course there's my favorite, the spitter umbrella, which is a really cool idea. And I don't know how it has not been made into a literal thing yet, like something you could buy. But in the gift shop in Jurassic Park, there's an umbrella that has like the spitter's head on, like painted on the umbrella at the top. But the cool part is when you pop open the umbrella, you can squirt water out of it, like a spitter would.
Right.
So in the script, the kids actually use this umbrella as like a defense against a velociraptor after they get out of the kitchen. And it kind of distracts the raptor, kind of scares it because it's like, what the hell is this? Kind of scary looking thing squirting water at me.
Yeah.
And it tears up the umbrella. And it's just a cute little moment. It may not have worked in the movie, but it's still just like a fun little gag. And I'm sure Spielberg loves to play with the idea of different gags in his movies. And I'm sure that was one that they played around with, because I think it comes up in the Marmo draft as well, the spitter umbrella, maybe.
Well, it definitely it made the concept art, didn't it? There's that piece of them using it.
Yeah, and there's actually a couple different versions of that sequence, and that's why I think maybe they were toying around with that for a while. So yeah, there's little things like that, and even like the characters, like John Hammond, as people who have read the book know, in the book, he's kind of an asshole. He's kind of like the dark side of Walt Disney that Michael Crichton, envisioned. Like he really wanted him to be this dark kind of sleazy character almost, and he didn't even care about his grandkids. Like he just had them there literally to appease like the lawyers and everything, like to just be like, oh, see, this is a park for kids, they're having a good time, until they're not. But anyway, so I mean, this alternate version of the script, like it made him be kind of like an in-between of like the dark Hammond and like the kind of the movie version that we have that's more grandfatherly and like Santa Claus like. Which is funny.
Miracle on 34th Street.
Exactly. He played him in a remake of that, which is great.
That's the thing, you can't cast Richard Attenborough and have him play a meanie. He can't be a big meanie. He's too soft.
No. Yeah, definitely not.
It was the right casting.
Yeah. So I mean, and originally they were going to cast, I think it was Sean Connery at one point as John Hammond. So I think that would have worked for the darker version that they had in mind. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's interesting. So, but anyway, I found this script and I thought, hey, what would be a cool way of like bringing this alternate version of Jurassic Park to life, but to make like a illustrated audio drama using all the original concept art that I could find and storyboards and all the original production materials, and having like a little bit of fan made stuff in there too to kind of like bridge the gaps of the DNA sequence of the script, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And so I worked very closely with my friend Bernard Kyer, which I'm sure you know.
Prime Survival days.
There you go, Prime Survival babes. So
you also worked with Joshua.
Yes, Joshua Malone. He did a number of voices. Samantha, who is part of Jurassic Outpost. So a lot of familiar faces got involved. And so yeah, we basically did an audio drama, cast different people to do different voices. I did my take on John Hammond, which I did not do a movie version of John Hammond, which I'm sure some people were expecting me to do a Richard Attenborough knockoff, but instead I did the script version, which is a very old grouchy man like this who just
oh, I love it.
He's very different. He loves his ice cream. But no, I don't know, I'm just making it up, but like it was really fun, but also very, very challenging because it was a 90-page script, which isn't like the longest script ever, but it took a lot of work from everybody to record the dialogue, and Bernard like mixed it together. And Bernard did his own original music score for it as well. And this thing clocks in like around 3 hours when you put all the parts together.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a pretty big production. And then of course, on my end, apart from doing a couple of voices, I edited the actual videos, and I edited it to the audio that, Bernard would mix together. So I had to go to like thousands of images of concept art and storyboards, and then the few original pieces I had made by Philippe Humboldt. hopefully I said his name right. Yeah. So he did a number of sketches and a couple of paintings for things that were never conceptualized that we're aware of. So yeah, it was quite a production, and it's just a really fun way to experience what Jurassic Park could have been.
It's a hugely
And
ambitious project, but one that truly paid off. I mean, what I've seen of it, or heard of it, seen of it,
yeah,
it's fantastic. I mean, you're exploring something that's like, you know, not a lot of people knew about, and then now it's like this whole new edition of Jurassic Park. I think it's fantastic. And have you been able to get that in Rick Carter's hands?
well, from what I know, because I showed it to John Bell, because it uses quite a bit of his work, of course, in the videos of this production.
Mm-hmm.
So and he knows Rick Carter because he worked very closely with him since Rick Carter was the production designer. He worked closely with art directors, and yeah, so apparently Rick saw it, and from what I was told, he loved it. So that's like the most flattering thing that could have been said.
That's
about
incredible.
it. Yeah. So I mean, it's great, because I mean, it could have gone either way. You could have hated it. You could have hated that I even found this thing, because I'm sure, not many people really got to see this in the production. Even I'm sure just the people at the top, basically, because especially it wasn't used for very long.
It was probably something he's not thought about in a very long time as well. And seeing that you've put this whole thing together, is basically this entire script into a performance piece with visuals. It probably felt very meaningful to him, and that's
which makes it feel like I did something right, because if he would have hated it, God, I probably would have taken it down, honestly, because I just like, oh God, that would have,
submits a copyright claim on
bummer.
it. He's just like,
that could have happened.
Yeah, no, I think it's
a
truly ambitious project, and something that truly paid off. So yeah, congratulations, man. But where can people find that? That's the most important thing.
They can find it on the website. Is probably the easiest way. Go to jurassictime.trescom.org.
Trescom.
Yeah. Yes, so you could definitely find it there, and it's on YouTube as well. You could probably just type in Rick Carter's Jurassic Park and find that particular playlist that way. Because it is multiple videos. There's like an introduction that talks about what it is, and then it goes into the actual audio drama after that. Because it can be downloaded as just an audio drama as well if you just want to listen to it, because it definitely works as audio only as well. That's the way Bernard designed it to work. But also, if you want to watch it, I definitely made it so you could do that too, with all the different concept art, just to see visually like what it really could have been. It's kind of like the Marvel What If series on Disney Plus. It's basically, like a less polished version of that, obviously. But yeah, it's definitely what Jurassic Park could have been. It's definitely unique because the script's unique. So
100%. And yeah, I would suggest that people go check that out and either download it or listen to it, stream it, add it to your watch later on YouTube, and dive into that, because a lot of work went into it from some very talented people in the community.
Lots of people.
Really, really worth checking out. And we will link that in the description. But Derrick, it has been wonderful talking to you today, and I appreciate you joining the podcast, man.
Thank you. Anytime. And hopefully some more crazy stuff will be coming up soon to talk about.
Feels like we're in another lull a little bit with lack of Dominion news, but that's just the marketing has not truly begun yet. When it does begin, it's going to be crazy. Everyone's going to be everywhere scrambling to get things together. But so thank you for joining me, Derrick. It's been good having you along.
Thank you as well, and have a good one.
Yes, Harry Potter, etc., etc.
Oh, yeah. Harry Potter times 10, for sure.
Yeah. times 10. Times 10, man. Jurassic Park and Harry Potter, just two of the best franchises ever made, ever.
The only ones.
It will, there's nothing else compared.
Nothing else.
So, yeah. I'm getting word. I'm getting information that Facebook and Instagram are back. So,
oh my God, my life can continue.
That's it. I felt lost without social media. No, I just received a WhatsApp message, so I believe everything is back. So that's interesting.
Yes.
Hopefully, you took this time away from social media to realize you don't need social media, and you can get rid of them, and we can all run away from social media. They've already sold all your data anyway, so you You got nothing to
Exactly.
say.
Exactly.
Derrick, hopefully speak to you soon, man.
Yeah, definitely. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, buddy. And thank you, everybody, for listening to the InGeneral podcast. If you haven't seen, yeah, we're on different YouTube channels. So if you're watching on there, subscribe. That's the new home of the InGeneral. And we will catch you on the next one. Thank you for listening.
Bye.